Merchandising and Consumer Studies and the BS in Interior Design. So I do have some guests with me today. My name is Kelly Dill. I am the director of the HHP Advising Center here at ECU, and I also advise for fashion merchandising and interior design students as well. We also have two faculty members with us here today. I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves. Dr. Muhammad, do you want to start first?
Hi, Dr. Mohammed. I've been at the institution for 1 year. I oversee both programs, merchandising, and interior design, and we are looking at some exciting things going forward for the future. So it's kind of hard it's like the people I'm talking to are the individuals that I know, so I'm sorry. I'm like, who should I be talking to?
You're fine. Dr. Christina?
Someone
Hi,
said,
my name is Charles Castina, and I am a professor of interior design. Have been with ECU for 15 years, and looking forward to many more. Thank you.
Mac and Lucy, do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Matt Craven. I'm the Director of Outreach for the College of Health and Human Performance. So one way you may have signed up for tonight's event is you may have gotten an email from me. So putting a face with a name. And then Lucy?
I'm Lucy. I'm a College of Health and Human Performance Ambassador, and this is my 3rd year studying fashion merchandising.
So she is an actual fashion merchandising student. So you guys will get to ask all the questions.
All right, well, we will go ahead and get started. I do have a brief presentation. If you have any questions during that time, you can drop them in the chat. I'll probably be referring to our faculty and our student as well. And then at the end, we will open up and let you guys ask us questions, talk to us. Feel free to unmute yourselves to show us your faces. We'd love to get to see you. And we also, Terrence, Mr. Holloway, introduced himself earlier, and he is with admissions, so we can answer any admissions questions and deadlines that you have as well. So bear with me while I try to share my screen. I am not used to Zoom. I'm going to go ahead and say that up front. Okay. That's not me. Mac, do you know how to do this? Is there a presentation button?
There's the share the screen with the green arrow going up on that bottom.
Okay, yeah, I saw that. Oh, here we are. Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
It's okay. Okay, perfect. All right, so like I said, tonight we're talking about the Department of Interior Design and Merchandising. And feel free to ask us questions about the program and the major, but to also ask us questions about ECU, because I imagine some of you are transfer students, some of you may be high school students and are wondering what the culture is like at the university. So we will get into all that as well. So the first degree that we're going to discuss is the Fashion Merchandising and Consumer Studies degree. And what is merchandising? When we say fashion merchandising, we're not talking about sewing clothes and putting clothes together, which that is a big part of it. But our fashion merchandising program covers most aspects of the fashion industry. So from working with designers to planning and developing lines, executing a product line, doing visual merchandising, marketing, retail, styling, whatever it may be, you're going to cover it in our program. So who are we? We currently have 162 students that are enrolled in the program. The average class size is around 30 to 35 students. So that is a bonus for you. And Lucy could probably tell you the classes are a little bit smaller. So it's nice to really get to know your peers. We also have faculty who are very involved with our students and who want to give back to our students and provide as many networking opportunities as they can. And we'll talk about those in a minute as well. We also are accredited by the American Association of Family and Consumer Sciences. And then we also have industry partners that we partner with as well. The National Retail Federation is big, also Cotton Incorporated. I know we've been to America's Mart in Atlanta in the past as well. So we really do promote hands-on experiential learning through our program and providing those networking opportunities as well. And we also have access to our scholarships. So we don't have scholarships specifically for freshmen within our department or our college, but once you get here, you'll get into the cycle and you'll see that we do have a lot of scholarships for our college and our department as well. Program requirements. So no matter your degree at ECU, you have to have 120 credit hours to graduate. So you have 40 hours of gen eds. You also have 52 core courses, and we'll kind of take a look at some sample core courses in a minute. And then another thing we require is a minor with this degree. The minor is designed to kind of help you round out your career goals. It kind of complements the degree and what you want to do. So if you're interested in owning your own business one day, we have students who will do entrepreneurship certificate. If you're interested in doing buying and selling, the professional marketing certificate. We have students who go into fashion blogging or fashion journalism, and they'll do communication. So the minor is required, which is nice. It fits in nicely with our 4-year plan. Another option is doing what we call MBA waivers. So if going on to grad school is something that you know you want to do and you're possibly interested in getting your MBA, if you let your advisor know up front, we can help incorporate those into your minor and into your plan. So what the MBA waivers do is they allow you to take certain business courses as an undergrad student. If you get a B or higher in them, then you can waive out of your first year in the MBA program if you maintain a certain GPA once you apply after your senior year. And then from there, you only have a year left to complete your MBA. So that's kind of nice. You finish with your BS in fashion merchandising and your MBA in 5 years. So a sample of our courses, we do have, of course, Intro to Fashion. We talk about merchandising strategies. We have visual merchandising as well. Dr. Mohammed, do you want to jump in and tell a little bit about what visual merchandising is?
Sure. When you walk into a store, or even before the store is actually open, there are individuals who are always putting together the visuals of the store. I don't know if anybody have ever had an experience where maybe on the mannequin you see a complete outfit, but then next to the mannequin is only one piece or none of the pieces that the mannequin is wearing, and so you have to go hunting for those pieces. A visual merchandiser visualizes what they want the store to look like, as in we may not select the fixtures or the wall sconces or anything like that, but we actually merchandise, keep the store visually appealing to customers so we can keep drawing individuals back into the store. So if you notice, some stores are forever changing over their windows or moving around clothing. All of that is the visual merchandiser. You can work either at the retail level, which is the actual store, or you can be in corporate, because what you want is for each store, regardless of region, to have a similar layout so that when customers travel, they know what to expect.
And one of our alums is actually the visual merchandising, I think, manager of Gucci, and she kind of manages all of the visual merchandising process for when they open up a new store on the Eastern Seaboard. So we have students who go into that. You learn about consumer behavior. You take a textiles class, which is really fun with Dr. Chen, and there's a laboratory with it. So you're learning about different fabrics. You do research on the fabrics. You test the fabrics, what makes a fabric fireproof, those types of things. Global economics. And then you also have to do 2 internships, which I will talk about in a minute as well. Lucy, have you done an internship yet?
I actually studied abroad in place of my junior internship, and then I'm planning my senior internship for next summer.
Okay, that's what I thought. We'll talk about study abroad in a minute, and that experience. So after graduation, what are some common career paths that our students see? So I mentioned the visual merchandiser. We have students who go on to own their own boutiques or manage department stores, fashion management, fashion apparel. We have students who are stylists or alums who are stylists. Dan Lee, I think I have a slide on him later, is one of the stylists. He's pretty in New York, and we'll get to that in a minute. We also have showroom coordinators, again, fashion bloggers, and trend forecasting. And trend forecasting was actually one of the courses that they took during study abroad as well. So where do our students work? Over 74% of our fashion merchandising graduates have secured full employment before they graduate, and another chunk of percentage they go on to grad school. So Nordstrom, Kate Spade, Saks, Jessica Simpson, Kohl's. We actually have, I think, 2 alums working in Kohl's right now in New York at their headquarters. And then the student experience. So I'll talk about the internships first, and then we'll talk about study abroad. So for our major, for the program, you have to complete 2 internships. This is usually done over the summer of your junior year and then the summer before your senior year. Each internship is 200 hours, and they can be anywhere in the United States. So the first internship is a retail internship. So just working in a department store or a boutique doing retail is perfect for that internship. The second internship, you can still work retail, but we want your supervisor to give you more managerial type tasks to kind of get a step up and kind of learn some of those roles and what it takes to manage and be a manager. And like Lucy mentioned, we do sub out one of the internships for the study abroad if you decide to go. We have had students who have interned all over the country, in New York, in California, here in North Carolina, also internationally. So those are really cool opportunities. You can get an internship on your own. We often get emails from the National Retail Federation because they know our students and they like our students. So I got an email, I think it was last year. One of the faculty members forwarded it to me because they had some internships and scholarships available through the National Retail Federation, and they were looking for students to apply, and they wanted our students to apply for some of those internships as well. And I won't go to the video because I don't think we have time for that. We have 2 student organizations, the Apparel and Interior Merchandising Organization. They do professional field trips. They also hold an annual fashion show. Lucy, are you a part of that? Are you a part of the student retail?
Yeah, I
Federation?
just joined this year.
Okay. Do you want to tell a little bit about it?
I don't really know a whole lot quite yet because I just joined, but pretty much it's just an organization. Their main event is the fashion show, and they kind of put it together the whole year. They thrift a lot of pieces. You get experience like styling pieces. They actually have some of the kids in AMO design pieces and like sew them together. There was this one line that this girl did last year. I went to the show this past year, and the one girl made a whole line out of reused jeans, and she created a bunch of pieces about it. It's really, really cool. And I have a lot of friends that are in there as well. They also take a trip to the Atlanta market, how you talked about earlier, and I think they're planning to do that next month.
Dr. Mohammed, did you take a group to New York recently in the past year? Or that was interior design?
New York was NRF, National Retail Federation.
Okay.
It was a group of, I believe, 9 students, and many of National Retail Federation student conference component of the larger conference, which takes over the whole, I can't remember, Javits Center in New York. But they have a specific component that they do geared for college students so that they can hire them directly before they graduate from school. And so that becomes a massive job fair as well for students.
I think we actually had someone hired the last time. Yeah. Um, so again, more experiential learning opportunities that we're all about. This is Stanley, who I was telling you about. You can follow him on Instagram. I believe Terrence may know him as well. He is a stylist for celebrities. So he styled Megan Rapinoe for her Sports Illustrated Sports Person of the Year cover a few years ago. Within the past year, I think he also styled Issa Rae in the cast of Insecure for an Entertainment Weekly photo shoot I saw. He styled Joel Embiid for the ESPYs one year. So we like to try to bring in guest speakers as well. We do provide hands-on learning. We have an alumni board who we meet with once a year, and we ask them, these are our business owners in the fashion industry and also alums of our program. And we ask them, what do you look for in new hires? What do we need to teach our students? And we often will adapt our curriculum to that so that you are more marketable and you are more competitive for the marketplace once you graduate. Lucy and I have mentioned study abroad. It's a really cool experience. They're going to go again this year. In the past, they've been to Spain, Portugal, Morocco, and this past year, I'm going to let Lucy tell about it, but essentially it's a little bit different than like a full semester study abroad. What we call it is a faculty-led summer study abroad. They go for, I think, anywhere between 1 to 2 weeks. You often get to travel to multiple countries, and you get credit for 6 credit hours of classes, 2 classes while you're there. And it's the same for tuition is the same for in-state versus out-of-state students. So it's a really good experience. It's a really good way to kind of get some classes and to also sub out for that first internship if you're interested in traveling. So Lucy, do you want to tell about your experience this past summer?
Yeah, so I went this past May. I actually went with Dr. Mohammed and one of our other professors, Dr. Alexander. We did trend forecasting as our one class and international merchandising and consumer behavior. We went to Milan, Italy, and Lisbon, Portugal. It was incredible. Highly recommend. We had so much fun. We got to meet a lot of girls from our major. We did a lot of company visits. We went to Gucci, one of our first days in Italy. We went to 10 Corsa Como, which was a really cool place. It had a lot of really cool visual merchandising. And we also got to have a lot of free time to go and explore on our own. It was a really, really great experience. It was only for like 10 days, which is nice, especially I have a really busy schedule. So I didn't really have the ability to study abroad during the semester, during the school year. So having the ability to do like a short little trip over the summer was definitely great.
Awesome. Dr. Mohammed, before we head into interior design, do you have anything else you would like to add about the program? Oh, do you want to talk about the pirate closet that we're starting this year?
So you mentioned experiential learning. What another way we talk about is HIP, which is high impact practices. And that is an opportunity to make sure that students have as many vast and varied experiences as possible while they're in our programs. So yes, we study abroad. Yes, we make sure you have internships. Yes, we make sure you have student organizations. In addition to that, we also have on our campus a clothing store that is focused specifically on professional wear. And we take in the donations, so it's more of a cycle up kind of or recycling of clothing. So we take in donations from the community. We merchandise those items, select the ones that we think they're going to be most appropriate for our students or desirable to our students. We then put them in the store. We're not fully there yet, but the class is up and running, and the students are currently going through the lot of supplies that we have. And we have fixtures in that small space of a store where we will display, and you will students are meeting with clients, which are other students, to help them style. We currently are not selling the items. There are more donations in, donations out, but it allows our students to have access to career clothing for interviews, for your first job. There was a big discussion just the other day in class about, well, who gets what and how many. So it allows our students to be actively working on the skills or applying the skills that they're learning in the classroom directly into a real situation, which gives them a leg up for when you actually go to apply for jobs, because you have these practical skills and not just theoretical skills.
You. All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about our BS in interior design degree. And I'll definitely be bringing in Dr. Gustina on that. I work a little bit with interior design students, but we also have Miss Kelsey Webster, who's the primary advisor for interior design students now. She's great. She couldn't be here tonight, but she does send her regards. She says, hey, and if you have any questions, I think her email's at the end of this, and you can contact her or myself. So our interior design program is very multifaceted, very versatile. You learn how to design space, how to make it functional, how to make it aesthetically pleasing. And it's all about how we experience spaces as well. So our interior design program is very technical. It's not, interior decorating. I kind of explain it as you'll see when you see Joanna Gaines come on the show, and she has her iPad and she's like, okay, we're going to move the bathroom here and the plumbing here. That's interior design. When she comes in at the end and she is staging the home, and she has her furniture line, that's more interior decorating and merchandising. So our interior design students will learn how to work with contractors, engineers, furniture dealers, business and homeowners. You'll also be able to take the shell of a building and completely furnish it with HVAC, plumbing, electrical, lighting. You'll use software like CAD, Revit, SketchUp. I think you also use Chief Architect. Did I miss any, Dr. Gustina? Okay, and yeah, Photoshop, Adobe, those types of things. So we are accredited. We're accredited by CETA and NASAD. CETA is the Council for Interior Design Accreditation. NASAD is the National Association of School and Arts Design. And we also, and this is important because when you graduate, it allows you to sit for your National Council for Interior Design qualification examination, which allows you to practice as a licensed interior designer. So within our program, you're going to learn about residential design, kitchen and bath, commercial design, and also mixed use as well. So our program requirements, again, 120 credit hours. You have to do 40 hours of general education courses. That's no matter what major you are at ECU. We have 54 hours in the major, and then 26 hours of electives. So a minor is not required with this degree, but most minors are 18 to 24 hours. So you could easily fit one in with a 4-year plan. A lot of our students will do the business minor or entrepreneurship certificate, or they'll do the architectural design minor. We also have a community and regional planning minor, which is really cool for our students as well. So our program is competitive. The fashion merchandising program is not competitive. You just have to have a 2.5 GPA to declare and graduate. There's a portfolio review with the interior design major. So, but something a little different about our program compared to other programs in the state is we allow you you do not have to apply directly to the interior design program from high school. We allow you to come into ECU as an intended interior design student. And during your freshman year, you're taking interior design fundamentals. You're also taking your color and lighting class, and you have 2 labs with this as well. During those labs, you're working on your portfolio. Dr. Gustina can kind of tell you a little bit more. I've seen some of their projects. They're really cool. So you're getting that hands-on experience, and you're starting out learning what software is it they do in 1180 and 1180. Dr. Gustina?
Sorry. Hi. They use SketchUp in both courses, and then in the second semester, they also start working in AutoCAD.
Okay. And so you're building your portfolio throughout the first year. And at the end of the spring semester of your freshman year, if you have a 2.5 GPA, you submit your portfolio for review in addition to the major. And from there, we will accept 22 students to move on. And once you're accepted, it's a 2-year minimum of a 2-year program, 2 to 3 year program. So you're going to be doing you're doing a studio class every semester where you're in the computer lab and you're working on your sketches and your portfolio. And we're going to look at an example of a student's portfolio in just a minute. And that 22 number sounds scary because it sounds really small, but we typically have anywhere from, I think, 28 to 35 students who apply. So the majority of students who apply actually get in. A lot of students do get into this major and kind of figure out it's not exactly what they want to do, but it is a great major and it's wonderful, and we need interior designers. So Dr. Gustina, I'm going to turn it over to you because I want you to tell about the project that they do their very first semester and how they get right into it.
Okay, and thank you, Kelly. You're doing a great job with these descriptions. So hi, everybody. Typically, when you come into the interior design program, unlike some other programs, we do not require you to submit a portfolio when you first apply. So we have some freshmen who come in to the program. They've already had some drawing experience. They've already had some computer experience. We have other students who come in who have not had any interior design background. And our goal during the first year, and particularly in the first semester, is to try to bring everybody up to the same level so that you're getting some drawing and sketching, you're getting some design, you're getting some computer use, so that by the time that you get to portfolio review, whether you've had that background before or not, you're able to compete with other people for admission into the program. And as Kelly pointed out, you know, we love and hate HGTV at the same time, because a lot of people watch HGTV and think, I want to be an interior designer. It's wonderful. It is wonderful, but it's a lot of work. And sadly, on HGTV, they don't show you the work part. They just show you the wonderful part. So some people go through the first year and even the first semester and they say, hey, you know what? This isn't quite what I thought it was. You know, I may think about switching majors. That's great. We have obviously lots of other majors at ECU, so we want people to be happy and get good jobs. But we also offer, in addition to the major in interior design, we offer a minor in interior design. The minor is focused more on lecture courses. And what we have found is, again, in the freshman year, in the first year in the program, some students decide, hey, this isn't quite what I thought it was, but I would still like to work doing something in design. This allows you to take another major, for example, merchandising, do the interior design lecture courses, and then particularly if you're working or if you're doing a merchandising degree, you can go into a retail setting such as RH, such as Ethan Allen, such as Pottery Barn, and work as a store designer there, working with clients to sell the product to them. So for a lot of people, that's a good alternative instead of doing the full CETA program. So Kelly, do you want to go to the next slide?
The adaptive reuse.
Yeah, we can go to that one.
Okay.
Okay. So one of the things that we focus on in the program, and this is only one of many different types of design that we look at, but adaptive reuse, taking existing structures that were built for various other purposes and repurposing them to something that's going to be economically viable in the current situation. So the photographs that you're seeing here up at the top, that's an old gym building, the inside of an old gym building here on ECU's campus. And a couple of years back, the senior class went in, took a survey of the entire building, all the dimensions and so on. They talked to alumni who remembered this gym building. They also talked to the ROTC people who are currently using the building for their functions. And they came up with different program ideas for how this building could be used in a different way currently and how that design would look then. Down on the bottom, those two photographs, on the right-hand side, you see a building that ECU owns, an old tobacco warehouse, which was built in around 1905. And on the left, on the bottom, one of the student projects was to turn a portion of this into a coffee house and meeting space. So that was the design that she came up with for that project. And then if you want to move on again. There are a number, so again, our students are required to do one internship. Many of them do more than one, but the one is a requirement. And there are a number of spaces that we are connected to throughout, particularly the Southeast, but also up along the coast, and some as far as away as California, where various students have done their internships.
And then do you want to talk about the National Kitchen and Bath Association?
Yes. So
Okay.
kitchen and bath design is its own particular industry. And we have a lot of students who end up, when they graduate, going to work designing kitchens and baths, either working for a company like Lowe's, where they will do kitchen and bath design for them, or in some cases, some of our alums have actually started their own companies doing kitchen and bath design. So that's a big thing. We used to have an accreditation from NKBA, and we would still have one, except they stopped accrediting programs. So, but we are still listed with their program as a university interior design program that they recommend. And so kitchen and bath is a really important program, a really important learning experience for our students, and gets a lot of jobs for them. And somebody had asked a question, I see, about different types of design classes other than interior design and fashion design. In the interior design program, it is all focused on interior design, and that's partly due to accreditation requirements. There are graphic design courses offered at the university and furniture design courses. Those are in the School of Art and Communication. So if you're interested in that, you might look at Art and Communication to see what's offered over there.
Yeah, there is also architectural design, but it's more, I'm not super familiar with that program because it's in a different college, but it's architectural design technology. So it doesn't actually prepare you to go and be a licensed architect. You still would have to go to grad school for that. So we're really big on experiential learning here as well in interior design. Our students, cannot remember the name of the conference off the top of my head, but they went to Las Vegas last year to a big interior design conference. They got to meet the Property Brothers. They got to see new trends in home and design that is coming out in the future. And they did a social media takeover for us as well. I do, before I open it up to questions, want to turn it over to Mac really quickly. I think she has an example of a student's portfolio, just so you can see kind of what that looks like. Students do have to create their own website once they are, when they in their senior year, and that portfolio does help you get internships and jobs, and that's going to be a requirement in applying to jobs as well. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Craven.
Yeah, so can everybody see this and hear me?
Yep, looks great.
Awesome. All right, so this is Corey Krajewski's portfolio. She is now an alum of our program. She was an ambassador last year. I even invited her to come speak tonight, but she could not join us. But this kind of shows Corey's progression as like a freshman student all the way up to her senior year. Just kind of some of the different projects they worked on, some perspectives, different floor layouts and circulation plans, even like looking at things of stair elevation. She really enjoyed the NKVA kind of aspect of it as well. They did a large project about for using Chief Architect. So this is her rendered perspective of this. I told her I was going to hire her to come redo my kitchen. She thought that was funny. But she has a couple different floor plans and mechanical aspects as well. And then she even did a showroom. Trying to think what else.
And those are not pictures. I thought they were pictures at first. That's actually from a computer generated image. So you'll be learning how to do all of this within the program, which is really cool, and learning about what perspectives are and things like that.
This one was really cool. This was a project focusing on a not retirement home per se, but a residence for individuals who are over the age of 55. So kind of thinking about maybe some ADA accommodations or things that needed to be improved on so that everybody can get to where they need to be. These are kind of some entry and living room aspects. Again, some more floor layouts and mechanical plans.
You'll learn that when you do a plan, it's not just the pretty rendered perspective. You have to know the elevation plans and the mechanical plans and where everything is going to go as well.
And as Kelly pointed out, we teach you all of this stuff. So we're not expecting you to come in already knowing this, although if you do, that's great. But you know, we're starting from zero. And then this is where you're getting to.
Yeah, so this is that tobacco barn project Mr. Gusina referenced. So these are hand sketches that she started with to kind of start planning, and then you can kind of see, you know, some things, how things develop. Like that is still a hand sketch compared to that. It's improved upon. She even did a hand sketch for some lighting and some fixtures. And then she got
really good at sketching.
She did. And she is thriving now. I actually talked to her this morning. She works for an interior designer in Durham. She did her interior design internship with her last internship component. And she is working with them now full time. She worked with them throughout her senior year and landed a full-time job. And so she is loving it and really appreciative of her ECU education, as she said earlier. So it was really good to hear that she felt like prepared and given the tools to succeed in the work field.
Awesome. Well, we're going to open it up for questions now. While we're waiting on questions, Lucy, tell us about yourself. Like you said, you're really busy. So what all are you involved in and why did you choose ECU?
All right, well, as she said, I'm Lucy Mack. Some of my things I'm involved in on campus currently, I'm a member of the Zeta Alpha fraternity. I'm also one of the members on the ECU cheerleading team, so I have to cheer at all the football games and basketball games, stuff like that. I'm a recent member of AMO, the Apparel and Interior Merchandising Organization. I'm planning to join the NRF student organization on campus as well this year. And I'm also an HHB ambassador.
And you are from out of state, correct?
I am from out of state, I'm from Pennsylvania, so.
What made you come all the way down to ECU?
Well, I need to get out of the north. If any of y'all are from the north, it's quite boring up there, there's not much to do, so. And I got southern roots, I got a lot of family down here, so I knew that that was gonna draw me south. And I also had family from up north that said that they went to ECU, and also one of my previous dance teachers when I was young went to ECU, and they always talked very, very, very highly of them. And also when I came and toured, like originally I was like, ECU was there, and I was like, I don't really know. And then I came toward campus, I started looking into their programs more, and I was like, wow, this place really looks like it could be a home for me, and it seems like it would be a perfect fit for everything that I need. So, yeah.
So we do have a question. So do we not have to apply to have a portfolio to apply to ECU? So that's a Terrence question. So your first step is to actually apply to ECU and be accepted to ECU. And then once you're accepted to ECU, on your application, you put what major you're interested in. If it's interior design or fashion merchandising, you would put one of those. And you would be within our college as an intended student, you would get a fashion merchandising or interior design advisor, and then we would work on you through the declaration process and be with you all 4 years. Terrence, what are some of the deadlines that we have coming up?
Yeah, so that's exactly right. Thank you so much for answering that question. Biggest deadlines, really just for students to think about if you're coming in, whether you're coming in as a freshman student or a transfer, a lot of deadlines really are not going to be coming up as soon in terms of like application for the early semesters. If you're a transfer looking to come for the spring, I just always highly suggest that you try to go ahead and start that process as soon as possible, as that application deadline is typically around early December or so there. But in terms of other just upcoming dates to consider, if you are a freshman student, and also if you're a transfer student as well, and you're looking to apply to the university, our application fee is typically $75. But the September 25th through the 29th, we are having our own free application week. So we will waive our application fee. So if you're applying as a freshman student, you can apply through the common application or through our direct website to have that fee waived. Or as a transfer student, you will solely just apply through our individual application to have that fee waived. So.
What other questions?
I was going to say
sorry.
honors college deadline.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, no. So honors college deadline for students to be notified that they're eligible to apply for the honors college. That deadline is October 20th. So what that just means is that if Mac is applying to the university, she first needs to receive her acceptance first. And once students are accepted, if they meet typically it's the GPA requirement, which is an unweighted GPA of a 3.7 or higher. If Mac has that unweighted 3.7 or higher, we will then notify her that she's eligible to apply for the college. So the honors college, it doesn't mean that she's automatically admitted, but she's now has the opportunity to apply for the program itself.
Tanya, did you have a question?
I did. What's the difference between interior design and like either fashion design or fashion merchandising? I'm just wondering what's the difference between the two, or are they kind of the same?
No, they are completely different. I'll let Dr. Christina take that.
Well, I can answer for the interior design part. With interior design, you would be designing interiors. So in other words, whether it's houses or businesses, you would be looking at the layouts, you'd be looking at the furniture, you'd be looking at all of the finishes that would go into that space. And also, you would need to know a little bit about, we don't do the actual engineering like the air conditioning and the plumbing and so on, but designers need to know about that so that they can design intelligently around it. Does that help you understand a little bit about interior design?
It does. Thank you.
Okay.
What do you want to do, Tanya? That might be a better starting point.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm actually a model, so I'm kind of like already like in the fashion industry a little bit. So I'm leaning more towards fashion merchandising.
Dr. Muhammad, did you want to?
Yeah, so our program specifically, we are not design. We do some visual, and we are looking to incorporate more of that, which will allow you to utilize some of the design aesthetics, but we are not a design program. We are more, we might help designers to produce their garments and to find the raw materials, to maybe as a retailer look at what new fashion trends are coming through so that we can help to develop new lines of clothing that retailers will offer. The merchandising side also includes the ability to do the mathematical calculations around what buyers need to understand in order to know how much money they have to spend towards another period, what items to select for their target market. That's why you see the consumer behavior part, which is extremely important for basically any business. You have to understand who your customer is. And so that is more of the components that we deal with. It is creative, is just not pushed to the far left of creative, such as in design. It's a very middle of the road between analytical but even there's creativity in being analytical. I don't know why we make it so separated. But as I keep telling the students in the intro class, I have had, in my background, I've had to study history, I've had to study math, I've had to study marketing, I have business degrees in accounting, in retail, and I have my MBA before I even went and got my PhD. So we are very well-rounded kind of people. And I know sometimes people don't like to hear that you're a generalist, but in order to be successful in our industry, you have to have a very broad breadth. How does that sound?
I would just say, even I, like, as you were talking, even I was just like, oh my God, that's a lot. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, you never get bored. That's why I love it. Because anytime it's like, okay, I don't want to do any more math. Let me come over here and and even within some of the corporations, especially for interns, you get to work across the different functions. So you can understand the breadth of the supply chain. And I know, in business schools, we're always talking about supply chain, but I always have to toot our little industry over here because we were the creators of the supply chain, because we were the first to go global, to start getting things made internationally or finding supplies. And then everybody else copied us.
That's awesome.
All right, what other questions do you guys have for us? And not even just about the program, like, do you have a specific question about ECU or the culture on campus?
You've got a full student right here at your disposal to be
Yeah.
like, where should I live? What should I eat on campus? Whatever you want. That's appropriate, of course. While we're waiting on questions, I am gonna we have a student run Instagram account. Lucy's actually doing a takeover this week for it. So you get to see some like behind the scenes action of like what it's like to be an ECU student. So I'm gonna put that account on the in the chat. the interior design and merchandising account, and then our college account as well. And if you're on Instagram, I encourage you to follow them.
And I'm going to jump in because I see a question in the chat from Laney, from J. Cox Laney. And it says, how many of the interior design students come out of graduation with jobs? Generally speaking, on graduation, from 85 to 100% of the interior design students have jobs. And any that don't, and within interior design, they're not working at Starbucks. And if they don't have one right at graduation, definitely within 6 months. So it's a very high placement rate. One of the advantages is Raleigh is booming, and Raleigh has been booming for decades now. And so a lot of our students are able to graduate. Raleigh's an hour and a half away. We do a lot of professional events where we'll go to showroom tours in Raleigh, or we'll go to IIDA events in Raleigh, and they get to meet professionals so that they can start talking about their internships and their jobs when they graduate. So it's a very high placement rate. And I think the same is true for merchandising.
Believe the industry, although people may assume that it's dying because stores aren't as prevalent as we have been accustomed to, all we've done is moved online. And so there's now the digital merchandising, digital retailing, analytics, which is just understanding all the consumption of the knowledge that is being generated online. And so retail is the largest industry in the United States. Fashion merchandising, we focus specifically on clothing or furnishings for the home or those kind of components. And their fashion, basically, we just mean, is something in style right now, or is it out of style? That's why we use the word fashion. But merchandising, that is retail industry, whether we're looking at the supply from after someone has designed it all the way until a consumer consumes it.
Okay. Somebody asked how the campus is, and I'll let Lucy answer that. And then someone says, does ECU offer physical therapy? We have a doctoral of physical therapy program, a DPT. So you can major in anything as long as you get those science prerequisites you need for the DPT program. And a good major for physical therapy is exercise physiology, and I think we have that virtual night coming up next week. So you'll be getting hopefully you'll be getting an email about that soon. But Tanya, I can send you specifics on that if you want to hop in on exercise physiology. Lucy, do you want to tell about the campus a little bit?
Yeah, the campus, you see people more than you think. Like, the campus is like very homey, very not secluded, but like you see people all around all the time. Like, some college campuses are like very spread out, very wide. Like, I know I toured other campuses and I was like, gosh, like I feel like I'm not going to see anybody here. But at ECU, like, you see everybody everywhere. There's a lot of greenery, which is nice. We have this place called the Mall where I like to hang out a lot because it's like a big grassy area. It's like right in the center of campus. Like, it's very open, spacious, and yeah.
It's beautiful. It's a little hot right now, but we get all 4 seasons, which I think is nice. Fall and spring here on campus are probably my favorite times. So get all the color changes, leaf color changes, and everything like that. So.
And I'm coming from the Midwest, so that's why I'm sweating, because I'm still getting used to the humidity. But I can say that, especially coming from the Midwest, I'm an immigrant, so I'll say since coming to the United States and living in the Midwest, I have not seen this many trees, and I completely enjoy trees. I'm a tree hugger. I love trees.
We're not too far from the beach either, which is nice because you can make a little weekend trip with friends. But we also can go to Raleigh pretty quickly and then even go up onto the mountains. So
It's like-
North Carolina, you have it. Yeah, North Carolina, you kind of have it all. I'm not sure where you're from, but yeah, it's a good time.
And I know though, Mr. Gustina said that it's an hour and a half to Raleigh. I can make it in about 65 minutes, depending on where I'm going.
All right. You don't know if any of them are police. You shouldn't say that.
Well, no, I said depending on where you're going. I didn't say I was going fast.
One thing ECU is hosting a open house coming up on October 14th. So come visit us and you can kind of talk to us more there in person and see campus as a whole. So we'd love to see you guys there then too.
The other thing that I know, Lucy, as a cheerleader, you didn't say, but I love the sports culture here. Absolutely. It is unlike any other place I've probably ever been, other than maybe my alma mater, which I won't say. But yeah, it's pretty phenomenal. Good times.
Yeah, I will say every Pirate fan is very, very passionate to be a Pirate fan. Whether we're winning or losing, you are always a Pirate fan.
Yeah.
There is a question. Somebody asked they applied for early admission to ECU. When will they hear back? Do you know that, Terrence?
Yeah, sure. So here at the university, we actually don't offer any early admissions for the university. We're actually considered a rolling admissions institution. So that just means that instead of like early admissions is typically, schools will have a certain date and time that if you apply early to expect to hear back from us. But the way that we actually complete our admissions decisions is that as long as students complete the process in terms of their application and submit documents in a reasonable amount of time, they can receive their admissions decision within a 2 to 4 week time span after submitting their application. So the biggest thing is that I would just tell you is that as you submit your application, just make sure that you go to the next steps, which is completing and submitting necessary documentations. And that's whether you decided to also include your test scores with your application or decided not to. But if you do, then of course it's going to be like your high school transcript and those scores. But if you decide not to, just be your high school transcript that we'll look for. And then once we receive that document, it can take anywhere between about a week and a half to 2 weeks for your admissions decision to be made. The biggest thing is to just always check your Navigator portal overall, and that's where you'll receive your first notification of your admission decision being posted. And if you have any questions or anything like that, I'll just drop my contact information below. And you can also follow back up with me via email. And I'll be happy to kind of like check on the status of your application or anything like that for you.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. We'll hang out just a few more minutes in case somebody has questions and wants to talk one-on-one. But thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, Terrence. Thank you, Dr. Gustina and Dr. Muhammad and Mac. We are very excited for you to join us at ECU. And hopefully we will see you soon.
Go Pirates.
Night.